The Cronulla Sharks have three major injury concerns heading into season 2024. Just how serious are they, and will Niko play in round one? Well, we're about to find out as legendary physio from Southside physiotherapist Francis Crossle drops by. Welcome to the official YouTube channel of the ET Stand podcast. Hit the like and subscribe button to be notified and see more of our videos on YouTube as we get into the 2024 season. Let's bring him in. Francis, welcome. I've been trying to get you on the show or to do a video with you for a long time. We've been talking about this as one of your patients. So welcome aboard.
That's right. And great to be here and good to see footy's back.
It is good to see the footy's back. Yeah, poor Francis has dealt with me and looked after me for years and years and had to put up with my Sharks chat. So we'll get into it. So 6 days ago, it was reported on the Sharks website that, and according to Sharks media, Sharks halfback Nicho Hynes will miss his team's trial match against the Bulldogs due to a minor quadriceps issue. Reported tightness in his quad at the team's final training session earlier today, so they pulled him out as a precautionary issue. He missed the Bulldogs match. Francis, you're the expert. How should we be thinking about reading into this statement and reading into this injury?
Yeah, I think quad soreness and minor quads injuries, they're really interesting. Fortunately, we shouldn't be too worried. It's not like a tear where there can be a minor tear grade 1 or a moderate tear grade 2 or severe grade 3 tear of a muscle, which can put Niko out for ages, weeks and weeks. The quad soreness is more like micro tissue damage, and it's very similar to having delayed onset of muscle soreness, which we call DOMS, after a heavy weight session or doing something that's new to the muscle. It pretty much comes about from overloading. And we know Niko's played the Indigenous game. He's been trained in the house down. He does extras with his kicking. And, this sort of is really overloading of the muscle and micro tissue damage. It should settle well and, picked up early as they're looking after the player. Should be managed well and get back to playing, pretty back 100% within about, 2 weeks. Yeah. So I'll miss this game and I expect him to be back 100%. Yeah.
So we shouldn't expect him to be taking the goal kicks in round one, you think?
Well, that's right. When you're managing these injuries, you've got to have an active period of rest. So that means in our sports physio world is that keep the player as active as possible without overloading the injury. So he'd be doing some low to medium pace running, nothing too dynamic or high impact. There'd be no kicking for a few days. And he'd be getting a lot of treatment, a lot of ice and heat and massage to get blood flow and healing through the muscles. And he'd be stretching his knee and stretching his hip so he gets full range of movement while those tissues are healing. So then it's just a progression into increasing running pace, into functional things, sidestepping, change of direction. And it can be progressed quite quickly because it's micro tissue damage. I'd expect the expectation would be for Niko to be training 100% the week before playing, so the following round 2 match. But it'd be interesting. He might wear some skins for some sort of compression and assistance with recovery for the muscles, and his kicking duties might be nil, or he might take the field kicks, but not the kickoffs and the goal kicks because they're a lot more stress on the muscle. So it'll be fun to see how that pans out. Yeah. So
if he ends up missing the game, should we be pleased that the Sharks are being more cautious, or is that a sign that the injury was more serious than we might have let on?
Well, with the information we've given, just the headlines, because I don't have any inside running, if he was to miss the second round, I'd be a bit nervous that perhaps there's more of a strain or a tear to the muscle rather than a minor micro tissue injury. Yeah.
Got it. All right, perfect. All right. Well, I'm not worried about Niko. I'm a little bit more worried about Jesse Colquhoun, though. It was reported in the Sharks media today.
Jesse, I saw him on the sideline with ice on his foot.
Oh, he's not looking good.
Oh, that doesn't look good.
So what have they said? He's got a broken fourth metatarsal. So firstly, Francis, can you tell me what a metatarsal is?
Okay, so metatarsal is the name of the long bones of the foot. So we've got, as you know, great toe down to your pinky, so 5 toes. So you come to the knuckle of the base of your great toe, then there's a long bone, and that long bone is the metatarsal. and there's 5 of them from the first toe, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down to your pinky. Mm-hmm. So the 4th toe, the long bone behind the toe up towards the midfoot, is the metatarsal. Now, that's a difficult injury, and as they've reported, he's going to go and see an orthopaedic surgeon who specialises in foot injuries, foot and ankle injuries. And the options are, if it's a stable fracture, you could put it in a cast or a boot and wait 6 weeks for it to heal. But being professionals, the most likely outcome is that he'll have minor surgery and have a steel pin inserted along the length of the bone to keep it in the exact perfect position and accelerate healing. So more than likely, we don't know the exact detail, but because, professional players, it's money when they're off the field and want good quality healing as quickly as possible. More than likely we'll go for surgery with the pin, which we call internal fixation of the 4th metatarsal. You'll have a period of a few weeks in the boot, and because it's stable, be able to get out of a boot and start walking and training on it quite early.
Can he do his upper body training if he has that injury whilst he's in the boot, or is it not?
Yeah, that's something that the professional sports people do. They cross-train. They rest the area that's injured, and the rest of the body will train very, very heavily. Obviously, there'll be no running in the early parts, but the weights and the upper body cardio and training the opposite leg is also extremely beneficial. Be able to train hip, hamstrings, and quadricep muscles on the injured side. But yeah, it's not great for Jesse. He was looking in great form. If that's what happens, he's bound to have have the surgery, and then from somewhere between 6 weeks and 8 weeks, he may be starting to be back to full training. So he's going to be out for a couple of months.
Yeah, got it. Well, I think the Sharks' depth is...
it gives us an indication you'll probably be out for a couple of months. But
it's basically what they're flagging, isn't it? They're basically hinting to us that's kind of the situation is in. Well, I'm kind of feeling pretty good about the Sharks forwards, actually. So we talked about
the good news for Jesse is that he, this isn't a complex injury. There's other injuries around the foot, like the Ellis Franks injury, which is more serious and takes a longer term to recover and can be difficult. He should recover from this and get back and play 100% through the season. So that's the good side. Yeah.
Is it a common injury for the rugby league players, the metatarsal problems in the toes?
It's not common, but it's not rare. It happens intermittently through the season with a foot twist or a stomp, usually.
Yeah, got it. All right. Well, that's Jesse Colquhoun. And then lastly, on to ET Stan's show favourite, Kade Dykes. It was announced that Kade Dykes would also miss time. And I know that you actually treated his father at your Southside physiotherapy as well, Francis.
Well, we were with the Sharks from 2001 to 2013. 1991 to 2003, beg your pardon, and then 2006 we were there. And I treated Adam, and I've also treated a lot of Adam's sons, one of them being Kade in his upcoming sojourn through the junior teams at De La Salle and at the junior Sharks. But yeah, his injury, you've got to remember last year he had a devastating injury in training and tore his ACL and had to come back to where he is now. And I don't know 100% if the hamstring strain or low-grade irritation, as they're calling it, is on the same leg, but it may well be because that's very common. And I think the difficulty with hamstrings is 7 to 10 days after a minor irritation, a low-grade tear of the muscle tendon or tissue, you can feel quite good and run around for 15 or 20 minutes and think, I can run really hard. And then on 25 minutes, it turns into a more serious tear. So I think the club needs to be, as they are, pull him out for at least one, probably, I think he's probably looking at about 3 to 4 weeks minimum with a early season hamstring strain and the history of a ACL reconstruction on his knee. So, yeah, not the greatest start. Yeah, it's bad.
And if you get the hamstrings wrong, it can be just so bad for your careers,
well,
can't it?
We've been unlucky the last few years with Matt Moylan, who seemed to have a recurring hamstring every few weeks over 3 years. He probably the last season, last 6 months of his last season with the Sharks, his hamstring was pretty good. And then you've got Travojevic at Manly, has an absolutely shocking history. So they can be devastating through your career if you don't manage them well. So yeah, let's hope Kade gets it right and doesn't have it recurring through the season. You know, we had the young fullback at the Sharks, Will Kennedy, strain his towards the end of last year, just in that sort of bending forward action to get a low ball. But yeah, he's touch wood. Yeah, he's made a great recovery, and we don't want to see any recurring. Yeah, so they are a very common problem and can be difficult. You know, an injury that should keep you out for 3 or 4 weeks, if it's not managed well, can recur and really interrupt with the individuals and our Sharkies season. You know,
does that mean that those sort of players with those common injuries should take extra time off or should rest a week during the middle of the season? I just remember Peachy always getting injured and us saying, why don't we rest the Peach in the middle of the season and just bring him back for the finals?
Yeah, I think that's we're familiar with that sort of concept of resting the stars so they don't overload their bodies in cricket at the moment. And it was fairly controversial towards the end of the season when you've got the likes of Penrith who are going to make the finals, so they'll rest half the team. But there's a lot to be said for reducing the load on a person's body at various times, particularly if they're a key player that does a lot of work. I mean, all players do a lot of work, but some run more and some take more contact. So, yeah, I think it's a serious consideration for coaches, you know, how much load a player has been having in various games and what's upcoming. And if they got an easier game, can they afford to rest him and do some recovery? So, yeah, I think it's certainly a concern, a valid concern for coaches. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. All right, mate. Well, that's quite a good update. So thanks for coming on. And are we going to get you on for a few more episodes and a few more things during the season, I hope?
Well, I look forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the season to start and see how we go. The Sharks, up the mighty Sharks.
Oh, I still remember bumping into you at the Leagues Club when we won the premiership. I don't know if you remember bumping into me, but I certainly remember bumping into you. Geez, we were very jolly that night, you and I. We were hugging and kissing and all sorts of stuff.
One of the greatest days of my life.
Oh, wasn't it? Don't worry about the day your kids were born. It's certainly
one of them, I said. Yeah,
one of them. Well, yeah, fair enough. Well,
no, that was a great night. It went on to the early hours of the morning until the sun came up for me. I don't know how you ended up, Dave.
Oh, I was. I think poor Chris McKenna saw us out the front of the Shark League Club at about 4:30 a.m. and got mobbed by a bunch of 30, 40-year-old somethings that just used to think that he was our favourite player, and we talked him through some of his favourite moves. So that was good fun. But all right, mate. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll certainly get you on for a few segments and get you on the panel. And we should do an episode with you as a special guest just to go through that time of the you as the physio for the Sharks and the John Lang era and.
Oh, yep, Johnny Lang, Marty
and Adam Dykes. And Johnny Lang is a favourite on our podcast, mate. We love Johnny Lang. God, we'd love to get him on. Right. So, all right, mate, perfect. Well, that was the ET stand. Thank you, Francis Crosley. If you would like to be treated by Francis and his team, give the guys at Southside Physio a call. I've been treated for them on and off for my various injuries over the years, and I can thankfully say that they have always done a brilliant job by me, so much so that I do drive from North Sydney down to Cronulla whenever I happen to get injured. Don't I, Francis? And Francis always gives me the time, me the time that I need because he's a legend and I've been going to them for years. So very much family business. Always looks after my parents really well as well. So very learned and, him and Phil run a great business and they've got a great team down there. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks, Francis.
You're welcome. Good on you, Dave. Bye.
See you, mate.